As lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, we all have an inclination to the epitome of love. When we rejoice, when times are hard, whatever stage of life we are in, we all yearn to be in one special place. We all wish to visit the blessed shrine of Imam Hussain in the holy city of Karbala. Not all of us have the blessing to visit the shrine of Imam Hussein, but there is still a way to experience the sights and sound of the blessed land of Karbala in the comfort of your own homes.
We call upon you, dear viewers, to support us in our financial costs to help bring the Holy Land of Karbala beaming into your homes. You can support us with a monthly donation of just $50 or £30. We are your gateway to Karbala. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Imam Hussein TV3.
I think it's everyone's dream to work and serve the Ahl.
We question our daily position, seeking answers and definitions. Get the queries off your chest with Ahkam SOS.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. Now, this is a live show. We're taking all your questions. So if you have any questions you'd like to send in, please send them in via the WhatsApp, the email address. You can call us live 0203 515 0199, or alternatively, if you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section, and inshallah the technical team will be able to send it to me on my iPad, and I'll be able to discuss and answer your question with the Sheikh. I'm the host, Mohsen Shia, and joining me is Sheikh Alima. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
How are you doing this evening? MashaAllah, Sheikh, not long left. We've only got a couple of days left of Ramadan. It's going very fast. How is your fasting going?
Alhamdulillah, all well. Taqabbal a'malakum.
Inshallah, minna minkum, inshallah, Sheikh. Sheikh, before we start answering the questions, normally I hand it over to you, and you have either a dua or a hadith that you're going to go through, inshallah. So over to you, Sheikh.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. In the prophetic sermon with regards to the month of Ramadan, as we started yesterday, part of the sermon, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam states about this holy month: من حسن منكم في هذا الشهر خلقه. The one who improves his akhlaq, his moral conducts in this holy month, improves this akhlaq, كان له جوازا على الصراط. It would be a pass on the bridge of the Sirat on the day of judgment, that bridge in which takes people from the mahshar, from the qiyamah, towards the paradise, and those who fail to do so would fall inside, na'udhu billah, the hellfire. كان له جوازا على الصراط يوم تزل فيه الأقدام. The day in which the feet will be slipped and stumbled, on that great day, a fearful day for those who have committed sins and so forth. So, akhlaq, as the Holy Prophet ﷺ stated, that I was sent in order to accomplish the high status morals and akhlaq. إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق. That was the mission of the Prophet ﷺ, one of the main missions or main objectives to accomplish and complete the akhlaq of the people. So very important that we try to improve our akhlaq in this holy month. If I'm bad-tempered, ill-tempered, an angry person, try to gradually each day to reduce this type of reaction due to an action from somebody to some, let's say, bad language and so forth. Try to reduce this feeling or the feel of anger and so forth in this whole month. Like those who smoke, they stop smoking for the duration of the fasting, 18 hours, 17 hours they don't smoke, and it's very hard for them, of course, to endure such period without smoking. So we try to quit and stop and reduce the feeling of being angry, the state of anger, and bad-tempered in this holy month, so that we can pass on the bridge, on the Sirat, on the Day of Judgment peacefully. That's very important. So as the sermon states, كان له جوازا على الصراط. Jawaz in Arabic we have mean passport. In Iraq especially we say jawaz, passports. And of course in other narrations we have that that loving Ali alayhi salam and the Ahlul Bayt is the jawaz ala sirat. That it will be like a passport. You have this passport to go towards paradise and pass this bridge safely and peacefully. Without this passport from Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam and Ahlul Bayt, you won't be able to pass. But you would na'udhu billah fall. So wilayat of Ahlul Bayt is a must for every believing man and woman.
Ahsan, Sheikh. Now, just a quick reminder to all our viewers that this is a live show. We do take in your questions. If you have any question you'd like to ask the Sheikh, we don't need to know your name, we don't need to know where you're asking from. You're totally anonymous. Send in your questions via the WhatsApp. You can send it via the email address Ahkam SOS at imamhussain.tv. You can give us a call live in the studio 0203-515-0199. Don't worry, I won't ask you your name or anything like that. Just give your questions straight to the Sheikh, and inshallah he'll be able to answer them for you. If you're watching on Facebook Live, if you're watching on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section, and inshallah, technical team will send them to me on my iPad, and we will answer your questions. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I am sent by a company during the month of Ramadan to another city, some 1,000 kilometers away. This looks like another country, another city, for 4 days for the purpose of work, and it is not permanent. Do I offer full or short prayers, and do I need to fast or not?
No, this individual needs to shorten his salah and not to fast as well, because he is now a traveler, he's a musafir. Although it's a business trip, but it's only short-term business trip, 3-4 days.
And also it's not regular.
Exactly, it's just a one-off business trip to finish a project or something, and that's not sufficient for the one to be able to fast in his travel and to pray in full as well. Yes, unless it's 3 days a week, let's say. Yes, in this case, and it's continuous, let's say 12 days a month and onwards, of course, then he becomes kathir al-safar, a frequent traveler. In this case, one should pray full and fast as well in his destination.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. If one forgot that the fasting of the traveler is invalid and fasted during travel, is his fast invalid?
Of course, his fast is invalid and batil in this situation. You are not allowed to fast in travel. You have to break your fast in travel.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. If someone who is fasting masturbates with the intention of not ejaculating but ends up ejaculating, does he have to give kafara or just do the qada?
You see, the one who ejaculates in this situation, there is qada and kafara as well.
Both.
Although, yes, because it's a very difficult situation.
So it doesn't matter whether he had the intention or didn't have the intention.
There is ejaculation at the end, and he knew that he actually began the foreplay with himself as a result, and that of course would result in ejaculation. So qada and kafara.
Fair enough.
And of course the kafara should be done as well.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna, from YouTube. If I willingly want to fast during Shahr Ramadan while I am traveling for 1 day, even though it is not obligatory on me, since I am a musafir, is it permissible, and will I get the same reward? Let's give the benefit of the doubt. Let's say this person will do the qada as well. But can they still, out of the sanctity of the month, can they still keep a fast? Can they still refrain from eating, even though they still have to do the qada of this because they've been traveling?
No, the traveler basically should break his fast. He's not allowed to fast. But of course, to reduce excess of eating and drinking, and especially eating in public, that is not right, because you're breaching the sanctity of the holy month of Ramadan. So eat in private and drink in private. But don't be intense with this regard.
Assalamu alaikum. Is wiping your face with your hands after making dua sunnah or bid'ah? That's from YouTube.
I haven't heard anything about this issue, if it's sunnah or not sunnah, but some people do it.
So when they ask for dua,
على كل حال, I haven't seen or read anything.
we Pakistanis, we do it a lot.
If there
we
is
do
a
dua
hadith.
as it's like the barakah is falling into your hands, and then we put the barakah on the face. So it's just, I guess it's tradition, I'm not sure. From YouTube, Sheikh now. Sometimes we hear by the scholars that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was shaheed. What does this mean?
Of course, shaheed, if the meaning is about martyr, of course, we have a narration which states that ما منا إلا مسموم أو مقتول, مضمون الحديث, that none of us would pass away except to be killed, either by poison or by sword. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi was one of them. He wasn't exempted from this hadith. So he passed away as shaheed. How? He was poisoned before his death. And the Bukhari mentions those two women who gave him that soury or bittery medicine. They forced it into his mouth when he went to like a short nap, or they forced it into his mouth. It's mentioned in the Bukhari, if you read it, it's there. The hadith of the giving the medication to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was actually a poison, and that quickened and hastened the demise of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a result.
Sheikh, the next question I have from WhatsApp is, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. This position is probably not talked about, but I wanted to ask you for your personal opinion and the research you have done. Did the wife of the Prophet Aisha kill the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Was she one of the ones that administered the poison? Or?
I've just mentioned, it's in Sahih Bukhari. Go and read it. That she gave him a medicine, but it was actually a poison that hastened the Prophet's death and demise and shahada as a result. What they say that no, he died because of a poison he was given 4 years ago by a Jewish woman to test him if he is a prophet or not prophet. How could a poison kill somebody after 4 years?
No, it doesn't work like
it doesn't work like this.
It's in and out of your body within a week.
Exactly. Or it would kill you straight away, for example, after 1 or 2 days.
Ahsan. Sheikh, some questions we have from yesterday. This is a really good one. Can I dine at a halal restaurant where they sell alcohol as well? That's from YouTube yesterday. Mathala, we have loads of famous restaurants, Sheikh, that provide halal food but also serve alcohol. Maybe sometimes it's even a Muslim owner, maybe they're not like practicing or anything, but they are adamant that the meat is halal to eat. Whether they're Turkish or Iranian or even Indian, Pakistani, whatever, there's plenty of restaurants that serve halal food but also serve alcohol. Are we allowed to go to those restaurants?
Basically, there are two sides to this question. Basically, if somebody wants to go to such restaurants, number one, the fiqhi side, if we say that the owner is a Muslim and he's offering meat and chicken as part of his the food he's offering, as long as he's Muslim, then we can trust and we can eat from that restaurant. Yes, having alcohol is a sin, is a disobedience to Allah Azza wa Jal against the Holy Quran, the Hadith. He's committing a sin, but it's separate than the issue of offering halal, unless, of course, he's not somebody you can trust. He's lying, for example, he's bringing, let's say, mixing halal and haram meat. Of course, you have to avoid it as a whole. But in overall, as I've said, this is a fiqhi issue about it. But there's a moral issue behind this fact that I wouldn't go into such a shop at all, because I don't encourage this individual to sell alcohol. When I'm there, it means there's some kind of, I don't say acceptance, or I wouldn't be there in that shop at all.
You kind of,
I want to tell them that
advocating
because
or
you're selling, because you're selling
commending.
alcohol, I'm not going to eat from you,
Mhm.
even if it's halal,
Yeah.
because you're committing a sin, ma'asiyah.
Mm.
Of course, if they serve the alcohol on the table, that's haram. You can't sit on that
Yeah,
table.
yeah.
But as I've said, to teach them to, akhlaqiyan, that I wouldn't eat there. I would stay away from them.
Awesome. Okay, Sheikh from YouTube. If sputum is swallowed while fasting, does it break the fast? Sputum, Sheikh, is like phlegm. That, you cough, sometimes phlegm comes up.
Which is a greenish, yellowish
type.
color.
Yeah. So if sputum is swallowed while fasting, does it break the fast? Sheikh, sometimes we try to cough it up, but it doesn't come up. It stays behind the nose and the throat.
Yeah.
We swallow it down. Sometimes it does come into the mouth, and sometimes we swallow it. Fasting, does it invalidate the fast?
If it comes in the area of the mouth, then as a precaution one should spit it away.
Mm-hmm.
Ayatollah Sistani seems to be goes for the mustahab precaution and not wajib. Unlike Ayatollah Sadiq Shirazi, who says this as a wajib precaution.
Spit it out.
So best thing is to spit it out as a precaution side.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
It's okay, that one we've done. Can a human being be possessed by jinns? Sheikhna, I think this is quite important actually, because a lot of people will blame psychological and mental illnesses on jinn. Sometimes maybe they're bad luck or they're depression or whatever. They'll blame it on black magic and jinn. Sometimes it's even a patient who has schizophrenia, where they have multiple personalities. They'll say, oh, there's a jinn inside this person and so forth. So I think it's important for our community to understand the Shia stance on exorcism and jinns coming in and out of a human being. Please, Sheikh.
We don't have such a thing that a jinn can control over someone's mind and body and everything. We have something called like a whispering, like a mess, not really to be able to overwhelm one's mind and soul. So there are ad'iyah with this regard, holy verses to be recited, for example, to repel this ailment. But also one should refer back to the psychiatric, to the mental disease or mental
psychotherapists,
exactly, to see conditions mentally, maybe bodily as well might be an issue there. So best thing to go back to the medical staff and experts with this regard, as well as work on the spiritual issue, which is the ad'iyah and Quran and so forth.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Can I keep the gold jewelry that I got from my husband's family during the marriage? The jewelry was financed by my husband and not his parents, and now the parents want to have the jewelry back. That is a very interesting question, Sheikhna. So, a family offered the new daughter-in-law some jewelry. The husband paid, let's say, monthly installments or so forth, paid for it. Now the family are asking for the jewelry back. Technically, who owns the jewelry? I've heard somewhere also gifts can be returned, and the person who gave you a gift can actually ask for the gift back as well, according to like Sharia and so forth. So in this situation, what happens, Sheikhna?
If she owns that jewelry or anything else that is hers, she owns it, then nobody has the right to take it back from her. Even the husband. No, it's hers. If she owns it, yes.
I'm sure a lot of females will be happy with that answer. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. A Shia believes that Mahdi shall be born. What is his status of Iman? Oh, okay. If a Shia, if an individual believes that Imam al-Zaman, may Allah hasten his parents, is not alive, is not born yet, is to be born in the future and so forth, is this person still a Shia? Can we still classify him with the Iman and so forth?
No, part of the Aqidah to believe in the Imam of Zaman of your time. You have to believe that there's the Imam Zaman of this time, of this era, living, but of course in occultation, disappearance due to the tyrannic and oppressions of the governments today in the world, who would kill the Imam if they see him straight away, as they killed the other Imams. The Abbasids and the Amawids killed Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam one by one, and they beheaded them, they poisoned them, and so forth. So, no, to believe in the Imam of the time is a must, part of the Aqidah, of the Imamah and the Usul al-Din as known. This individual should complete his Iman by and his Aqidah by going back to the books of the Hadith of Ahlul Bayt for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and read more and to try to strengthen his belief with this regard.
Ahsan. Sheikhna, question here. Assalamu alaikum from WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I see countries make shrines of the Imam alayhi salams and people making gestures as if they are worshipping them. Is making shrines of Islamic figures with their faces on permissible? Sheikhna, we see a lot of this on the Mashaya as well. There's loads of like memorabilia of the Ahlul Bayt and of Abu Abdullah Hussain alayhi salam and his camp and so forth. You know, people stand, they'll do dua, they'll give sadaqah and so forth. Is this acceptable in Islam?
As long as these are with the boundary of the Sharia, there should be no problem with it. So it depends really to what extent they have been actually made these symbols, let's say. Sometimes you have seen a small version of Zarih, of the Imam's shrine, and the Imam Barga, for example, to remember the Imam alayhi salam. There should be no issue with it. But we have to see exactly what type of symbols they're using, for example, or the signs to remember the Imams alayhi salam in this regard.
Sheikh, now we're going to go to a short break. Inshallah, join us after this small clip as we continue our discussion here on Ahkam SOS. Don't go anywhere.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of scholars.
Is it permissible to plant trees by or
What
over
Islam
the
establish
graves?
based on peace and
Is it
non-violence?
permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is
countries?
there an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, call in on +44 2035 150199 or WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155. Alternatively, you can also email us on ahkamsos@imamhussain.tv.
Yes, those are the ways that you can send in your questions. Send in your questions via WhatsApp. The email address ahkamsos@imamhussain.tv. You can give us a call 0203-515-0199. If you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, send in your questions in the comment section and inshallah the technical team will send them on my iPad and myself and the Sheikh will be able to discuss and answer your questions. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sheikh, a question here from, I think it's from the WhatsApp. I want to give out sadaqah for Rade Mudhalim or Muzallim, but I am told I need permission from my marja. Is this true?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Radd al-Madhalim basically is to pay for, let's say, damages you made. Let's say you hit somebody's car and you, let's say, ran away, for example. Your son or daughter broke somebody, your neighbor's, let's say, or somebody else's car window, for example, or your neighbor's window, for example, and you haven't paid them.
Okay, compensation.
So compensation for what? Damages or against people's property and assets. You pay this Radd al-Madhalim. Of course, you have to pay to the rep or the marja himself to deal with it. So you have to get contact with the marja or his rep in order to, or take the ijazah to pay to, let's say, building a center or mosque or something like that.
I see.
Yeah.
Sheikhna, we've got loads of questions that came from the past, especially on kafara and zakat al-fitr and so forth. You've done some research, so over to you, and if you can answer some of these financial questions for our viewers, please.
Yes, basically I would like to inform the brothers and sisters in Iman that for this year's kafara and fidya and zakat al-fitr amount, for those who live in the UK specifically, zakat al-fitr for this year is £6.
Okay.
You could hear somewhere else maybe £7, less or more, but £6 on each individual, on each head in the house. Even if it's like a 1 month baby, you still have to pay zakat al-fitr on that head. And for those who can't fast because they are pregnant or breastfeeding, for example, fidya on each day is £1.50 for each day. This pregnant woman or the breastfeeding woman would pay £1.50 for each day, missed day. So they couldn't fast.
£45 for the whole Ramadan.
Exactly. And of course, the kafara for the one who intentionally breaks his fast on that day by eating or drinking, for example, would be £90.
Wow.
And that's equivalent to feeding 60 people, poor people. So
£90. And then they have to do the 60 qada fast as well.
Qada is for that one day.
Sorry,
that's just for one day.
For one day.
One day intentionally breaking the fast would be the payment of £90 kafara, which means feeding 60 people basically, and £6 for the zakat al-fitr for each head, and 150 for the fidya for each day. Missed, they couldn't fast that day due to pregnancy and so forth. Exempted people,
Okay, excellent.
Thank
Thank you very much, Sheikhna. Thank you. I think we have a phone call on the line, inshallah. Can I confirm that? Do we have a phone call? Let's go to the phone call, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me? Because I can hear you.
Hello.
Hello, assalamu alaikum. Okay, we're in trouble there. If you could call back, please, because we could hear you. Unfortunately, you couldn't hear us. Call back, inshallah. We'll be able to discuss your question, inshallah. Sheikhna from WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum. If a black or Asian goes to Jannah, will he still be black or Asian?
I haven't read any hadith with this regard. I haven't seen anything or heard anything with this regard. Ala kulli hal, those who go to paradise, to heaven, of course, they will have a beautified face, of course, you know, in terms of one of the rewards given to this individual, that he will have a beautified face. What I've heard that there would be no more beards and mustaches, so it would be clear, let's say, clean shaved faces.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, by the way. So I'm not sure if it's a hadith or something, but yes, amrad, this as you know, without beards and mustaches. So yes, things will be changed and different in paradise.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. What is Sayyid Sadiq Shirazi's opinion on the authenticity of Al-Kafi, Sheikhna? That's from WhatsApp.
I haven't read anything about his statements with regards to the Al-Kafi, but usually the Kafi has been authenticated by the ulama. They have sharh on it. I think Mar'at al-Uqul, the sharh of Usul Kafi by Sayyid Ja'far Shirazi. No, Sayyid Ja'far is still alive. He's the son of Sayyid Muhammad. His son, he has written sharh for the whole Kafi. So if there's any issue, they would raise the issue that this hadith is wrong, for example, is not true, for example. But from my investigation, things were okay, unless Sunday comes with the issue of being da'if and weak, with some opinions.
Sheikh, we have a phone call, inshallah, we're able to get through this time. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Your question, please, for the Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Sheikh, I just wanted to ask, usually when I eat Indian Pakistani food, the spices stay in my mouth. And like yesterday night, I had a kebab roll, and the spices stayed in my mouth till after imsak. I wanted to see, is that flavor allowed to stay in my mouth while I'm fasting, or it's just some types of fruit, the flavor just tends to stay in your mouth for quite long?
Thank you very much, brother, for your question. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all your amal and your deeds, for your families, your community, inshallah. Thank you so much for your question. Shaykh, interesting. Zaika, taste. Sometimes the taste remains in the mouth. Does that affect our fast? I mean, after suhoor in the morning, we eat different types of foods, and especially from my background, some stuff is quite spicy and has a lot of flavor. If that carries on after the Fajr Adhan, does that break my fast?
If no remnants left in the mouth, the pieces, let's say, of the spice, or even toothpaste, for example, that flavor wouldn't break the fast. What breaks the fast is the remnants, small bits which are left from yesterday, let's say last night's sahar, for example. But it's just a flavor or taste, should be fine.
Sheikhna from YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. I just have a question about prayer. Does the mention of Imam Ali alayhi salam in the prayer, in the tashahhud and taslim invalidate the prayer, and why Shias don't mention him?
As I've mentioned before, that Ayatollah Sadiq Shirazi, hafidhahullah, he would mentioned in his fatwa that it is permissible, if not mustahab, to say in the tashahhud, after saying وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله, to add this part, وأن عليا نعم الولي اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. So he would allow it in his fatwa, but others would not agree.
Yes.
The majority or most, I'm not sure about the consensus of the ulama, but in overall they have ishkal on this issue that the salah would be batil, for example.
Yes.
So you have to go back to your marja' to see if he would allow this issue to be in the salah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Was tahajjud's namaz obligatory on Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Please explain. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was wajib on Rasulullah to pray namaz al-shab. It was wajib on him. But these are exceptions. To have 9 wives, namaz al-shab was wajib, other things, and so forth. These are exceptions to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We should compare ourselves with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa
sallam. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Can we see ghosts, evil spirits? If yes, can they harm us?
In overall, as I've said, sometimes the issue is mental issue accompanied by such issue, as I've said, the jinn, which can whisper and harm the human being, but they can't control, overwhelm the one's mind and body, as I've said before. Even the shaitan can do waswasa, whisper, but he can't control the mind and the body of the human being. He's not allowed. No permission was given for them to take our mind or place themselves in our body, let's say, and control our, let's say, organs like the robots, for example. No. But yes, there is some kind of waswasa, some kind of waswas al-khannas, الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس. There's waswasa, whispering in the chest and in the hearts of the people, but they can't have any full control over the body and mind.
Ahsan. Sheikh, more questions coming in. Assalamu alaikum. My husband always stays in the bathroom for a very long time. It has become a very big problem for me. I would like to know, is it haram that he stays in there for so long, or makruh? Surely there must be a hadith or something about this. It's causing arguments in our marriage.
Initially, is it to do with waswasa and obsessiveness? Is it this issue? Sometimes he's got something to do. Let's say he's in the bathroom to, let's say, to trim his beard, for example, shave some parts of the body, for example. It takes time. Basically, you can't do it quickly. It takes at least half an hour to 1 hour with the bath and everything. If it's just a shower, let's say ghusl, for example, and he's in the ghusl for an hour, of course, the issue of waswasa and obsessiveness would be raised. And I've said before that hadith of Muhammad Sadiq alayhi salam, when a man told him that one of my friends, he's actually he's aqil, he's a wise man, but he does waswasa. He repeats this, for example, his namaz many times, he repeats his wudu or ghusl many times, he takes long. The Imam said to him, ask him, is this from shaitan? And he will tell you it's from the shaitan. It's from the shaitan. So the best thing is to ignore the shaitan and just carry on with your routine acts of wudu and ghusl, and don't take much time, because ghusl is just 10 minutes max with such strong shower hoses and pressure, water pressures. You don't need that much time to wash, unlike the old type in which they used to wash with little water. So one should avoid the waswasa because it's from the shaitan.
From WhatsApp, Sheikhna. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
My wife's sister got khula, separation, recently, and they don't have a father and don't have a brother. So we've got a man here, his wife's sister's kind of divorced, and there's no brother or, let's say, a leading male figure in the house. I want to marry my wife's sister, and my wife wishes also. Can I marry my wife's sister in this situation? I'm already supporting her financially as they don't have any source of income. I want to know the Sharia still to rest of my life. Okay, so we've got a situation here that the wife's sisters become divorced. There's no, male figure in her household or so forth. So the wife's husband is helping his sister-in-law out and so forth, and now he's considering marrying her. His wife also is saying to marry my sister and so forth. Shari'an, is this allowed? As far as I know, Sheikh, you're not allowed to marry your wife's sister.
So he wants to marry the sister of his wife.
Yeah.
The Quran is very clear. وَأَن تَجْمَعُوا بَيْنَ الْأُخْتَيْنِ. You're not allowed to have sisters together in one house as wives.
Yeah.
Not permissible at all. Forbidden.
Even though he's financially supporting her right now because there's no male figure in her life.
Nothing to do with the support. You're not allowed to have a sister, two sisters as wives. It's not permissible at all.
Fair. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum. I read a man who is married can do mut'ah to another Muslim lady regardless of his first wife's permission. Please could you tell me why this is? Is this not a form of adultery without her permission? So, why is it that we don't require permission for extra marriages, whether permanent or not permanent, temporary? And if it's Ahlul Kitab, then we have to ask wife's permission.
So you want to see the reason for that?
Yeah, he wants to.
Because basically, for the Christian or for the non-Muslim woman, the first wife is a Muslim. So she has superiority and priority with this regard. So that's why we have to go back and ask permission. But in anyhow, Allah Azza wa made the marriage halal. In the Holy Quran, mathna wa thulath wa ruba', up to 4 wives. And if the man needs and they can maintain those women, then why not? And if there's a reason for it, as I've said before, with maintaining the first wife, the main wife, protecting the house from being ruined as a result of the second marriage and so forth. If there's adal, as the Quran mentions, Allah ta'adilu fawahida. If you can't be just, then keep it one. So again, with all these criterion and conditions, one should basically be allowed to do so if he can follow these terms and conditions, as the Holy Quran mentions and the Hadith and the Fiqh mentions. So one should be very careful when deciding to have second wife, be it temporary or long term.
Very important question, Sheikhna. Assalamu alaikum. Some of our Sunni brothers and sisters have been ill-advised and told not to greet or reply to the greetings of the followers of the Ahlul Bayt. So not to respond to the salam of the Shia. So I often find myself in a situation where my Islamic greeting is ignored and where Muslims greet me with hi, if at all, if they greet me. What should one do in a situation? Continue to greet the Islamic way, knowing the person will not reply, or use good morning and the likes of the greetings, or say nothing? It's quite sad actually.
In overall, saying salam is mustahab, but the reply is wajib. So they're committing sin by not replying wa alaikum assalam wa salam alaikum. It's up to you if you want to continue saying salam or you want to stop it. It's up to you. Ala kulli hal. It's not wajib, it's mustahab to say salam.
From YouTube, Sheikh, assalamu alaikum. I have another question. Is the lacking the window of the shrine of the Imams alayhi salam breaks the fast? Is the lacking the window?
It's licking, I think.
Licking the window, maybe. Licking the window of the shrines of the Imams breaks the fast. The dhari.
Licking.
The dhari. Yeah.
No, the problem is it could be that. على كل حال, I'm not sure about this mas'ala. We have to go back to the marja to see. But there's no substance to be swallowed, let's say. But why should one lick the shrine of the Imams?
Yeah.
Touching, kissing, embracing, it should be fine. But licking, I don't know, to be honest.
From YouTube, a question from my friend. Okay, is it not recommended for a Shia man to marry a Sunni woman? Okay, is it makruh for a Shia man to marry a Sunni woman?
If with the intention of guiding her towards Ahlul Bayt, of course, this is a great reward. Waiting for this individual when you guide her towards the path of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, embracing the true Islam of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. But if it's the vice versa, of course, that's even not allowed, because you might even change your aqidah one day to her aqidah.
Assalamu alaikum from YouTube. If people is revert, they are from a non-Muslim family and when they die, the family ceremony, the revert body, which is haram, will the revert gone wrong? Thank you so much. I sorry, we don't understand that question. Could you write that again more clearly? Something about a revert passing away, and then the family crematory, the revert body, which is okay. I think I've got the gist of it. We have a revert. The revert passed away. The family take care of the burial, but they cremated the revert and not buried him because maybe they didn't know that in Islam we don't cremate, or maybe they thought that he's still another religion and not this and so forth. Is it wrong? Does the haram come upon the revert?
No, it becomes a wajib kifai, as the ulama say. Wajib for the people, at least one or two people, to come forward for the Muslim community and to take on the funeral and the burial ceremony, and as it is in Islam, from washing the body, ghusl al-mayyit, from the kafan, the shroud, from the salat al-mayyit. All these are wajib to be done. So it becomes upon the Muslim community in that area or region, wajib on them kifaiyan, to come forward, at least one or two, and to carry on and take all these wajib acts to be done.
Sheikh, we have a phone call, inshallah, to get through to our viewers. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Inshallah, you're all good, Sayyid Mohsin and Sheikh. Inshallah, you're going good.
Thank you very much, brother.
No problem. So I've just got a question, and it's just because it happened to me now. So I had a really bad nosebleed, and it was pouring out. And you know when the nosebleed gets a lot, and sometimes it goes to your throat. So I tried to spit it out. I even started vomiting. Like, I didn't vomit, but it was like that. So I tried to spit all the phlegm out, which had blood. But some of it I swallowed because it was right in the back of my throat. Okay. So I couldn't try to spit that out. So, but I tried my best. So, so does this make my fast invalid?
Okay, all right.
What's the reason?
Thank you for your question, brother. Inshallah, you might want to go see a doctor if it's that much blood. But inshallah, everything is fine with you in your health, and may Allah accept all your amal in this month of Ramadan. I'm going to ask the Sheikh a question now. Sheikh, now the brother had a very, very heavy nosebleed. Some of the blood went in his mouth. He tried to spit it out. I think with the nosebleed as well, maybe there was something to do with sinuses or whatever. There was mucus from his throat, which he couldn't spit out. He swallowed it instead. Is his fast still valid, or does he have to pay a kafara or fine or anything?
So he swallowed mucus intentionally.
He goes, it was in the back of his throat. He couldn't bring it forward.
The back is fine. It can. No, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. He can swallow it from the back. Yeah. But if it's on the tongue area, must be according to as a precaution to spit it out.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you. Just time for one more question, Sheikh. Now, I think this is actually a good one. Is it permissible to marry a stepbrother's daughter?
Stepbrother's daughter. So, can we do the calculation for this?
Right. So, my mother and father got divorced.
Okay.
My father married another lady who had a son. So, can I marry that son's daughter?
You see what happens if the father has a daughter, let's say. Let's give this a scenario. If the father had a daughter and the mother had a son, but both from different spouses, that daughter and son cannot be halal on each other. So they're like a non-mahram.
Yeah.
They can't see each other's. Let's say if it's a girl, he can't see her and body as a result. So when it comes to the sons and daughters, they can't see each other because they're from different. Although it's in the
marriages, technically.
Exactly. So they can't see. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Shaykh, final thoughts before we end the show.
We have few days to the end of the month of Ramadan. If somebody has any debts, unpaid debts, حق الناس, حقوق الناس, to be paid by now. If you have حقوق Allah Azza wa Jal, khums, zakat, unpaid, try to pay it and don't leave it too late. We will never know how long we will live. So try to pay the حق الناس, people's debts back, and حق Allah Azza wa Jal, like khums and zakat. Inshallah.
Ahsan. Thank you very much, Sheikh. Thank you to all of you for joining us on this episode of Ahkam SOS. Myself and the Sheikh will be back tomorrow at 5:10 London time here on Imam Hussain TV3. If you have any questions you'd like to send in, please send it in via the WhatsApp, the email address, or tomorrow give us a call 0203 515 0199, or when you're watching tomorrow, Facebook Live or YouTube. If you'd like, join us on TikTok. We have a TikTok account, Ahkam SOS. We have loads of different material there, and we do interact with our followers. So follow us on TikTok, inshallah, and you can see a lot more and ask a lot more questions. We do apologize if we didn't answer any of your questions. Inshallah, those questions will be rolled over tomorrow, and you can see us here on Imam Hussain TV3, Sky Channel 789. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We question our daily position, seeking answers and definitions. Gather queries of your chest with Ahkam SOS.
As lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, we all have an inclination to the epitome of love. When we rejoice, when times are hard, whatever stage of life we are in, we all yearn to be in one special place. We all wish to visit the blessed shrine of Imam al-Hussein in the holy city of Karbala. Not all of us have the blessing to visit the shrine of Imam Hussein, but there is still a way to experience the sights and sound of the blessed land of Karbala in the comfort of your own homes.
We call upon you, dear viewers, to support us in our financial costs to help bring the holy land of Karbala beaming into your homes. You can support us with a monthly donation of just $50 or £30. We are your gateway to Karbala. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Imam Hussain TV3.
With more and more victims of war and poverty, the Middle East has seen a surge in patients seeking medical aid. Iraq alone has 2.4 million people without access to any form of medical assistance. In Afghanistan, due to the lack of funding and devastating conflict, the health service is at breaking